Have you ever stopped to reflect on the profound power of compassion? Imagine, for just a moment, if this singular virtue could shape not only an individual, but an entire people, weaving itself into the very fabric of their cultural identity. What kind of world could we create? In Tibetan Buddhism, Avalokiteshvara, known as Chenrezig in Tibet, is far more than a symbol. He is the living embodiment of compassion, a force so vast and unyielding that it has touched the hearts and souls of millions across centuries. Avalokiteshvara's connection to Tibet is a narrative as rich and intricate as a Tibetan mandala, blending myth, spirituality, and history into a story that transcends time. It invites us to see beyond our own small worlds, to embrace the suffering of others as if it were our own. How might our lives transform if we adopted even a fragment of this boundless empathy? Through his teachings and his profound influence on Tibetan culture, Avalokiteshvara offers universal lessons that make us pause and reflect. What would it take for compassion to become the cornerstone of our lives? How might we reconcile our inner conflicts? Much like Tibet's mythical creation story transformed wild chaos into harmonious unity. If these questions spark something within you, don't keep them to yourself. Share this journey of discovery with others. Subscribe to our channel for more insights into the timeless wisdom of Avalokiteshvara and beyond. And don't forget to share this video to spread compassion far and wide. Avalokiteshvara's divine role in Tibetan Buddhism, a beacon of hope. The belief that the Dalai Lamas are earthly embodiments of Avalokiteshvara elevates their role beyond spiritual leadership. As manifestations of the Bodhisattva, they are seen as bridges between the divine and the human realms, embodying boundless compassion and wisdom. This sacred lineage began with the first Dalai Lama, Gendun Drub, and continues with the current 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, who is venerated as a global advocate for peace and compassion. The spiritual authority of the Dalai Lamas extends to their role as stewards of Tibetan culture and autonomy. Imagine the profound responsibility of carrying the weight of Avalokiteshvara's mission to guide the Tibetan people not only in their spiritual pursuits, but also through the trials of political exile, cultural preservation, and international advocacy. This dual role imbues the Dalai Lamas with a unique blend of humility and resilience, qualities that resonate deeply with their followers and admirers worldwide. Symbol of hope in exile and beyond, Avalokiteshvara's significance takes on even greater meaning in the context of Tibet's struggle for cultural survival and autonomy. For Tibetans living in exile, he remains a symbol of hope and unity, a reminder of their enduring spiritual connection to their homeland. The Dalai Lama's unwavering commitment to nonviolence, inspired by Avalokiteshvara's compassion, underscores the strength of this bond. His message transcends borders, emphasizing that compassion is not just a religious ideal, but a universal principle capable of transforming the world. A universal icon of compassion. While deeply rooted in Tibetan Buddhism, Avalokiteshvara's message of compassion transcends cultural and religious boundaries. His iconography, often depicted with multiple arms and eyes symbolizing his ability to perceive and respond to the infinite suffering in the world, serves as a powerful reminder of the potential for compassion in every human heart. Through his teachings, Avalokiteshvara inspires not only Tibetan Buddhists, but also millions of people worldwide to embrace empathy and altruism as guiding principles in their lives. In Tibetan Buddhism, Avalokiteshvara is more than a deity. He is a living beacon of hope and compassion. His profound connection with Tibet is a testament to the enduring power of spiritual beliefs to shape cultural identity and inspire resilience. For the Tibetan people, Avalokiteshvara is not just a figure of worship but a constant companion on their journey, guiding them with an unfaltering light of compassion. The creation myth of Tibet. Wisdom meets wildness. Have you ever heard a story so rich in symbolism that it seems to echo the struggles and triumphs of your own life? The Tibetan creation myth, featuring Avalokiteshvara, is just such a tale. At first glance, it may appear to be a simple origin story, but as you peel back the layers, it transforms into a profound meditation on the human condition and the pursuit of harmony. According to legend, Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion, was moved by the barren beauty of the Tibetan plateau, a place vast, harsh, and teeming with unrealized potential. He recognized that this rugged land, seemingly inhospitable, held the seeds of life and transformation. Choosing to embody wisdom in its most primal form, Avalokiteshvara transformed into a wise monkey, symbolizing discipline, foresight, and the capacity for conscious action. However, no creation is complete without the raw energy that fuels it. Enter the Rakagress, a figure of wild, untamed nature. Fierce and primal, she represented the unpredictable, chaotic forces of existence. She was not an antagonist, but a necessary counterpart to Avalokiteshvara's wisdom. Their union, an interplay between wisdom and wildness, gave rise to the Tibetan people, who embody this dual legacy of mindfulness and raw vitality. But what does this myth truly teach us? Beyond its surface as a tale of origin, it offers a roadmap for navigating the complexities of life. Enlightenment, as suggested by the story, is not about rejecting our primal instincts or overpowering them with reason. Instead, it's about weaving the two into a balanced, harmonious whole. Avalokiteshvara's disciplined nature and the Rakagress's untamed energy are not in opposition. They are complements, two sides of the same coin. Together, they illustrate that integration, not denial, leads to true growth and strength. This myth resonates deeply with the human experience. Each of us carries the duality of wisdom and wildness within. In our daily lives, we often grapple with the tension between the rational and the emotional, the controlled and the instinctive. How often do we find ourselves torn between pursuing a disciplined path and giving in to the wild call of our passions? This Tibetan legend reminds us that these dual forces are not enemies to be subdued, but allies to be embraced. In their union lies the potential for creation, growth, and transformation. Moreover, the myth's setting, the Tibetan plateau, adds another layer of meaning. The plateau itself mirrors the interplay of extremes. Vast emptiness meets soaring heights, and harsh conditions foster incredible resilience. Just as the land is shaped by the dance of opposing forces, so too are we shaped by the interplay of our inner energies. The landscape becomes a metaphor for the human spirit, capable of both barrenness and flourishing beauty when the right balance is struck. The story also challenges conventional notions of creation and order. Unlike myths that frame primal forces as chaotic and in need of subjugation, this legend celebrates their essential role in bringing life into being. It acknowledges that without the fire of passion, wisdom alone might remain inert, unable to spark change. Conversely, unchecked wildness can lead to destruction without the guidance of insight. True creation arises when these forces join in purposeful collaboration. For modern readers, this myth offers a timeless lesson. In a world often divided into binaries, reason versus emotion, discipline versus spontaneity, it dares us to transcend such dualities. It invites us to see the value in our contradictions, to understand that our struggles are not flaws, but opportunities to integrate the many facets of our nature. Just as the monkey and the Rakagress found unity and brought forth life, so too can we find strength and enlightenment by embracing all aspects of ourselves. Ultimately, the Tibetan creation myth of Avalokiteshvara and the Rock Ogress is more than a tale of origins. It is a story of balance, integration, and the transformative power of harmony. It asks us to look inward, to acknowledge the dual forces within us, and to recognize that our fullest potential lies not in denying one side, but in uniting both. Whether we face the barren plateaus of life or the wild storms of emotion, this myth offers a guiding light. Wisdom and wildness, when woven together, can create something extraordinary. Avalokiteshvara in Tibetan art. Compassion. Visualized. Have you ever stood before a painting or statue of Avalokiteshvara and felt a sense of awe that transcends words? Tibetan art brings his compassion to life in forms that are as intricate as they are inspiring. Among these depictions, none captures the imagination quite like the 11-headed Avalokiteshvara, with 1,000 arms radiating outward. Each hand's open palm contains an eye, symbolizing his omniscient awareness of suffering and his readiness to act. The Dalai Lama, a living manifestation of compassion. Imagine being chosen as a child to carry the legacy of Avalokiteshvara, to be seen not just as a leader, but as the embodiment of divine compassion. This is the life of the Dalai Lamas, spiritual leaders who have guided Tibet for centuries. The current Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, continues this legacy with remarkable humility and grace, even in the face of exile and political strife. The title, Dalai Lama, is not just a spiritual role, but a deeply symbolic one, signifying an unbroken lineage of compassion that transcends individual lifetimes. From the moment the young Tenzin Gyatso was identified as the 14th Dalai Lama, his life became a beacon of hope for millions. His spiritual authority stems not only from his reincarnation as Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, but also from the authenticity with which he lives and teaches these ideals. Have you ever listened to the Dalai Lama speak? His words are simple, yet they carry a profound wisdom that resonates across cultures and religions. Whether addressing global leaders or small gatherings of devotees, his message is always grounded in kindness, empathy, and universal responsibility. He teaches that compassion is not a luxury, but a necessity, a force that can bridge divides and heal wounds. "My religion is very simple," he often says. "My religion is kindness." How powerful is that? In a world often consumed by greed and division, such a message feels like a balm for the soul. The Dalai Lama's teachings on compassion transcend religious boundaries. He does not confine his message to Buddhist philosophy, but extends it to all humanity, urging people to see themselves as interconnected parts of a greater whole. He has often spoken about the importance of emotional hygiene, cultivating a healthy mind through practices such as mindfulness, gratitude, and forgiveness. His vision of compassion is not passive, but active. It involves courage, resilience, and a commitment to alleviate the suffering of others, even in the smallest ways. Even in exile, the Dalai Lama's work embodies Avalokiteshvara's compassion. Forced to flee Tibet in 1959, he established a government in exile in India, ensuring the survival of Tibetan culture and religion. Despite losing his homeland, he has remained steadfast in his dedication to nonviolence, becoming a global advocate for peace and human rights. Through his teachings, he advocates for human rights, environmental sustainability, and global harmony. He reminds us that the essence of Avalokiteshvara is not confined to Tibet. It is a universal call to love and serve. His efforts for environmental sustainability are particularly noteworthy. The Dalai Lama has long emphasized the sacred relationship between humanity and the earth, urging people to take responsibility for the planet's future. Taking care of our environment is not just an ethical matter. He has said, it is a question of survival. By linking compassion with environmental stewardship, he highlights how interconnected our well-being is with that of the world around us. The Dalai Lama's life is a testament to the transformative power of compassion. He shows us that even in the face of immense personal and collective suffering, it is possible to choose love over hatred, understanding over division, and hope over despair. His enduring legacy challenges us to see compassion not as a lofty ideal, but as a practical way of living, a daily practice that can heal hearts, communities, and the world. The mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, a melody of compassion. Have you ever chanted the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum? Its melody has a way of settling the mind and opening the heart. This mantra, associated with Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, is more than a set of syllables. It is a profound spiritual practice that purifies the soul and awakens the spirit. Reverberating through centuries, this sacred chant carries a timeless resonance that connects practitioners to a higher realm of love, wisdom, and healing. Each syllable of the mantra carries a transformative energy. Om purifies pride and ego, reminding us of our interconnectedness and the need to transcend the illusion of separation. Ma clears jealousy and attachment, encouraging a deep sense of contentment and gratitude for the present moment. Ni dissolves passion and desire, fostering clarity and equanimity in our thoughts and actions. Pad cleanses ignorance and prejudice, illuminating the mind with understanding and openness to all perspectives. Mi eradicates greed and possessiveness, nurturing generosity and a spirit of abundance. Hum purifies hatred and aggression, planting seeds of compassion and inner peace. When we recite this mantra, it becomes more than just words. It transforms into a spiritual tool that reshapes the heart and mind. Isn't it amazing that such a simple mantra can hold so much power? The power of Om Mani Padme Hum lies not only in its ability to purify, but also in its capacity to guide us towards self-realization. It is said that each syllable embodies an aspect of Avalokiteshvara's infinite compassion, and by chanting it, we invoke those qualities within ourselves. This mantra serves as a bridge between Avalokiteshvara's boundless compassion and our own hearts, helping us realize our innate ability to love and heal, not only ourselves, but also those around us. In many traditions, the mantra is accompanied by visualization practices. Chanting with intention and focusing on the radiant image of Avalokiteshvara can deepen the practice, amplifying its transformative effects. Some imagine the syllables as luminous lights cleansing the mind and body, while others see them radiating outwards, filling the universe with waves of compassion and kindness. The act of chanting also has a meditative quality. As the rhythmic vibrations of the mantra flow through the body, it quiets the mind and creates a profound sense of inner harmony. This sense of peace is not limited to the practitioner alone. It ripples outward, influencing the world with subtle yet powerful energy. In Tibetan Buddhism, the mantra is often inscribed on prayer wheels, banners, and stones, allowing its energy to perpetually bless the environment as they spin in the wind or rest upon the earth. Such practices underscore the mantra's universal reach and its potential to uplift all beings. To chant Om Mani Padme Hum is to embark on a journey of transformation, one that aligns us with the essence of Avalokiteshvara's teachings. Through consistent practice, this sacred sound becomes a melody of compassion, a gentle yet powerful reminder of the boundless love and healing that reside within each of us. Avalokiteshvara's historical influence, shaping Tibetan identity. Avalokiteshvara's presence in Tibetan history is as much a guiding light as it is a unifying force. Have you ever considered how spirituality can shape the destiny of an entire nation? In Tibet, Avalokiteshvara's influence is evident in everything from governance to daily life. One of the most significant figures associated with Avalokiteshvara is King Songtsen Gampo, who introduced Buddhism to Tibet in the 7th century. Recognized as an incarnation of Avalokiteshvara, his reign marked the beginning of Tibet's spiritual transformation. Under his guidance, Buddhism became the bedrock of Tibetan culture, with monasteries, art, and literature flourishing in its wake. Songtsen Gampo's legacy extends beyond religious devotion. He unified Tibet into a powerful kingdom, establishing a governance model intertwined with Buddhist principles. Through the construction of iconic structures like the Jokang and Ramochi temples, he embedded Avalokiteshvara's essence into Tibet's physical and spiritual landscape. These temples, with their enduring influence, became centers for prayer, pilgrimage, and the preservation of Tibetan Buddhism. The embodiment of Avalokiteshvara's compassion in Tibetan leaders did not stop with Songtsen Gampo. This spiritual lineage continued through the Dalai Lama institution, which represents Avalokiteshvara's compassion in human form. The Dalai Lamas, often revered as manifestations of Avalokiteshvara, have played a critical role in maintaining Tibetan identity and unity, especially in the face of external challenges. Through their teachings, diplomacy, and leadership, they carry forward Avalokiteshvara's timeless values of compassion, wisdom, and peace. This legacy is not just history, it is a living tradition, Avalokiteshvara's teachings inspire resilience and unity among Tibetans, especially during times of adversity. For instance, during periods of foreign occupation and cultural suppression, the invocation of Avalokiteshvara's compassion provided spiritual sustenance and hope to the Tibetan people. Festivals like the Great Prayer Festival, Monlam Chenmo, dedicated to Avalokiteshvara, continue to draw communities together, fostering a sense of collective identity and devotion. Isn't it remarkable how a spiritual figure can provide not just solace, but strength to an entire people? Avalokiteshvara's influence transcends the boundaries of religion, becoming a symbol of Tibetan resilience, cultural pride, and the enduring power of compassion in the face of challenges. Through Avalokiteshvara, Tibetans have found a profound connection between their spiritual heritage and their national identity, a bond that remains unbroken through the tides of history. Compassion in action. Lessons for the modern world. In a world rife with conflict and suffering, Avalokiteshvara's teachings offer a timeless remedy. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the challenges of life, wondering how one person can make a difference? Avalokiteshvara's example shows us that compassion is not about solving every problem, but about showing up again and again with an open heart. Compassion, as embodied by Avalokiteshvara, is not an abstract ideal, but a call to practical, everyday action. It reminds us that even in the face of immense challenges, small, heartfelt gestures can create meaningful change. Think of a single flame lighting countless others, each light contributing to dispelling darkness. Compassion works in a similar way. It spreads, inspiring others to act with kindness and empathy. The Dalai Lama often speaks of interdependence, the idea that our actions, no matter how small, ripple outward, affecting countless lives. Isn't that a humbling thought? Each act of kindness, each moment of understanding, contributes to a larger tapestry of compassion. Consider how a smile to a stranger, a word of encouragement to a friend, or a simple act of generosity can transform someone's day. These seemingly small actions, when multiplied across communities, can ignite profound shifts in how we treat one another. Moreover, Avalokiteshvara's teachings encourage us to cultivate bodhicitta, a mind and heart dedicated to alleviating the suffering of all beings. This doesn't mean we must achieve grand feats of heroism. Instead, it invites us to live with awareness, recognizing that every interaction is an opportunity to practice compassion, whether it's listening without judgment, extending patience in difficult situations, or simply being present for someone in pain. These moments matter. In today's interconnected world, where technology has bridged physical distances, the potential for compassion to ripple outward has never been greater. A single compassionate act can inspire millions when shared, reinforcing the idea that goodness is not only possible, but also deeply impactful. Avalokiteshvara's message is clear. No action is too small, no heart too insignificant to make a difference. So, how can we embody these teachings in our own lives? Start small. Reflect on how your actions affect others. Choose kindness when faced with conflict. Show up again and again with an open heart, even when it feels like the world is not reciprocating. Remember, compassion is not a one-time act, but a way of being. A commitment to seeing others through a lens of love and understanding. Through Avalokiteshvara's wisdom and the Dalai Lama's call to interdependence, we learn that the world doesn't need perfect people to heal. It needs compassionate ones. Each of us holds the power to shape a kinder, more understanding world, one compassionate action at a time. Conclusion: the enduring legacy of Avalokiteshvara. The story of Avalokiteshvara and Tibet transcends being a mere tale of faith. It is a profound testament to the transformative and unyielding power of compassion, rooted in the mythical union of the monkey and the demoness, a metaphor for the balance of wisdom and primal instincts. It has grown into a cornerstone of Tibetan identity and spirituality. The presence of Avalokiteshvara is not just etched in the ancient texts and sacred rituals, but also brought to life through the actions and teachings of the Dalai Lama, who is revered as his living embodiment. This lineage serves as a beacon of hope, urging humanity to embrace kindness and interconnectedness in an ever-changing, often chaotic world. Avalokiteshvara's enduring influence is more relevant today than ever. His teachings remind us that compassion is not a passive quality, but a dynamic force that requires courage, awareness, and an active commitment to alleviate the suffering of others. As we navigate modern challenges, ranging from social injustice to environmental crises, his example inspires us to cultivate empathy, patience, and resilience within ourselves and our communities. By doing so, we align with the very essence of Avalokiteshvara's message, that love and compassion have the power to heal even the deepest wounds. In reflecting on Avalokiteshvara's legacy, we are invited to turn inward and ask profound questions. How can I embody compassion in my daily life? How can I be a source of healing in a world that is so often fractured by conflict and division? These questions urge us to go beyond abstract ideals and to bring the principles of Avalokiteshvara into tangible action, whether through small acts of kindness, advocacy for justice, or a commitment to mindfulness and understanding in our relationships.